Hi, I'm Zuby, from Magic with Zuby, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network. Just like the show you're listening to now, the opinions expressed are those of each individual host. Check out all other podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
This is the official GonnaGeek.com show. Here we're a bunch of geeks talking about geeky things. Each week we run down the latest news and happenings in the world of geek. These are your hosts for the show, Steven.
But what if I'm in the mood for a T-Swift story?
Chris.
I've heard the X is going to give it to you.
And SP.
That's how we roll on Gonna Geek on Monday night. We get crazy!
Gonna Geek Productions presents the official GonnaGeek.com show.
Welcome to episode 237 of the official GonnaGeek.com show. I am Steven Jondrew, and with me, of course, is Chris Farrell.
I'm Batman.
We also have Stargate Pioneer.
The star of Gonna Geek.
No, the star tonight is our guest, Michelle Ealey.
Hey, I feel like snapping my fingers.
You feel like snapping. I like that.
That's snappy.
That is snappy. You know who else is snappy? I am snappy. I'm always snappy.
No, you're
Can we
snippy.
call you Snappy?
No.
We need to
Big
call him
Papa
Snippy.
Snappy.
I was going to call him Sweet Snappy.
All right, well, we're here with another episode of the official GonnaGeek.com show, and here we like to talk about all of the latest happenings in the world of geek. We're a once-a-week show, but if you've ever headed on over to www.geeks.live, you can go ahead and find all of the other amazing geeky podcasts there that stream live from the Gonna Geek Network. We got a whole bunch of them, and yeah, a lot of them are on Sundays. So if you have a very lonely Sunday like Chris Farrell does, or Stargate Pioneer, you should head on over to geeks.live and definitely check out the Sunday because you will see a bunch of streaming stuff that happens then, plus a couple other days in the week, but mostly Sunday.
Screaming?
I said streaming, but
I think I heard screaming.
well, if you are on there, then the odds are there is screaming, and that is the viewers who are pulling out their
So,
hair.
Steven, are you saying you want us to scream right now?
Just do it. Just do it.
No, you just played me off. It's too late. You just played me off.
All right, let's talk some news here. So this first news point here is awesome because it means that there is a Sega Game Gear resurgence, right?
Yes, there is. Steven, guys, the Game Gear is one of my favorite consoles from when I was a kid. Everyone had their Game Boys. It's like, psh, I got me a Game Gear. I got Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's in color, even though my 6 AAA or AA batteries could only power the console for like 2 hours, and those of the Game Boy got like 12 hours life. It didn't matter because I had color, damn it. But hey, some really cool news that came out. It was found out by Matt Piscatella, who works for the NPD, that someone last month bought a brand new copy at retail of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for Sega Game Gear. Repeat, brand new, not aftermarket, not gray market, not eBay, not used game. This is a 26-year-old packaged good for a video game system discontinued during the Clinton administration that was last sold in 1992. Yes, an actual copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 just sold in North America in the last quarter, and it came up in the video game sales statistics.
Okay, so this is awesome. Absolutely fantastic. But Skeptical Steven's here, so let's just slide Skeptical Steven in here and go, how was this even reported? Like, is there like a form that they have to fill out that dates all the way back? It's like, today I sold 1 copy of Pong.
Well, it comes through the POS systems that they have, the point of sales, not piece of expletives. So they're able to capture that information. The MPD group covers video game sales in the United States. Matt Piscatella is specifically the guy that found this. And if you go to our show notes, I embedded some of the tweets he had in there. And he said on the 28th, someone in the US market bought a brand new copy of Sonic 2 for the Game Gear at retail in March 2018. I want to know who this person is, where they bought it, in how it all happened. Like, was it just buried in some back room the last 20 years? Did it get lost underneath some retail fixture? Was it a 20-something-year-old pre-order? What was the reaction when that person bought it who saw it? I have so many questions. And here's the thing. We don't know what happened on this one. There's a lot of theories that guys have, or folks have, which is, well, Toys R Us is going out of business. They're liquidating all of their assets, including fixtures and things like that. Maybe they are cleaning out the back room and there was a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 they found underneath one of the shelves and they put it out and someone bought it. We don't really know. Matt did say he was going to look into it, try and figure out what was going on. However, the last update he posted on this was on the 29th of April, so that was yesterday as we record this. He said, well, looks like this will remain a mystery. No new details available yet. What is available, however, are Game Gears on eBay. I might pick one up. So guys, through some fluke, we sold a Game Gear game for the first time since 1992 in stores. Can you just imagine looking through those stats, like, hey, Switch games sold well this month, Xbox did okay, Game Boy, Game Gear? What the hell?
But see, that's the thing, is like, there has to be some form of tie-in, whether it's they physically are reporting these or what. Like, that's what I'm shocked why we don't have more of a story on this, because it's not like this just appears out of thin air, these stats. Anyways,
I'm guessing it's a UPC deal. That was there UPCs in 1992? I can't remember when they actually.
There would be.
Well, then it was scanned into some computer system that through the UPC. So whether it was Toys R Us or Target or who knows, but whoever actually scanned this has a retail business. So that's how it is.
I think the Toys R Us theory holds the most water, in all honesty, because look, Toys R Us has been around for ages. That, you know how they always used to sell video games there. There was the locked closet that had all the games on shelves, and you took your little slip of paper up there and said, can I get a copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 2? And they pulled it off the shelf and you checked out and you got it. It's entirely possible that a game could have fallen behind a fixture in there, and if you don't clean up your back room, not been found for 20 years. I mean, I could see it happening. That's the story I want to go with, at least. But it just gives me some kind of sick amusement that there's a Game Gear game that hasn't been sold since 1992 that popped up in this last quarter's sales.
You know, this is going to end up on Snopes. Did a brand new video game actually sell after 26 years?
I'm going to go look on Snopes right now and see what's coming up on.
I'll bet you it's not there right now because this is just recent as of a couple of days ago. But at some point in time, there will be some research into exactly what happened here, and it'll be on Snopes. Just like the couple that Digital Soup talked about putting their RV on cruise control and just going off into the desert. Digital Soup, you're dumb. That is totally false.
Whoa.
That is totally false.
Wow.
Fighting words.
So let's just remind those of you who are not familiar with Stargate Pioneer and the inner workings of the official GonnaGeek.com website. The network has a bunch of amazing geeky podcasts on there. I mentioned that. And Chris and SP both have certain titles to do with the site. And I'll just point out that SP's title is the Vice President of Network Development. Yes, apparently the way that he develops is by calling people dumb. So there you go.
Public shaming for not knowing what is true and what is false.
Please remember, the views of Stargate Pioneer represent only Stargate Pioneer and not the Gonna Geek Network. If he publicly shames you, it is not necessarily the Gonna Geek Network that publicly shames you. It is one Stargate Pioneer of StargatePioneer.com, aka Deputy Director of SNASA.
Okay, so I've publicly stated that I'm hashtag Team Naki. I'm going to go ahead and right now and say I'm hashtag Team Soup. Team Soup. I was going to say Team Digital Soup, but we'll go with Team Soup. Team Soup. Okay, so there you go. Hashtag Team Soup right there. Mark me down.
So you believe in the fallacy of an RV being put on cruise control and then the people going in back and eating or going to bed and then the RV just driving off into the desert or off a mountainside or something like that. You believe that?
No, I believe that we should be able to talk about what we want to talk about on here, just like there was a keg of Tim Hortons coffee sold just yesterday. So there you go. We tell whatever stories we want. So next up in the news, let's talk a little bit about some broken records. Now let's preface this article here. We're about to talk about a very, very big movie. We will ask everybody to cease putting any spoilers in the live chat, in the comments on the YouTube page, anything like that. We like to stay spoiler free. We're about to talk about Avengers numbers. We will not talk about anything to do with the movie. This is strictly about numbers, and we ask that you please respect that. Go ahead, Michelle.
My favorite part was when Tobey Maguire showed up and said hi. Sorry.
That would be cool. All right, go ahead, Michelle.
Actually, my favorite was when they broke in the song. Anyway, yeah, if you were in a coma and you didn't hear about this movie, well, now you're going to. Infinity War has broken a whole bunch of records. Biggest domestic opening of all time. The official number is $258 million. That beats Star Wars by $10 million. They had the record before at $248 million.
Which Star Wars movie was that, Michelle?
Force Awakens. Biggest international opening of all time, $380 million. Biggest superhero opening of all time. Infinity War's $635 million. Total opening weekend earnings made it the movie, the biggest world opener to hit the box office, passing Universal's The Fate of the Furious, which was $542 million. Biggest Saturday of all time in North America, $83 million. Biggest Sunday of all time in North America, $61 million. Biggest opening of all time in 7 international markets: South Korea, Mexico, Brazil, the Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia, and Malaysia. With an 18.6 million haul in India, Avengers Infinity War had the biggest opening ever for a Western title to debut in the country. And what's interesting is that this movie has not opened in China. It opens in China on May 11th, and in Russia, that opens May 3rd. And China is the second international film market, and Russia is the 14th largest international film market. So this film can easily pass $1 billion.
That is insane, but not unexpected.
I think the question is whether or not this movie is going to pass $2 billion.
Well, I believe that you'll probably spend $1 billion into it in your own money watching it.
Quite possible.
I don't need to, because Amazon's raised their price for Amazon Prime for $20, and that's about $1 billion.
Extra. Shh.
You know, you can actually pre-order Infinity War right now.
Okay, I have a question about that. So up here, and I'm assuming it's down there as well, you can buy like a super ticket. So if I go and I buy, watch the movie, I can pay for a super ticket so that I get a free digital, well, free, but I'm paying for a digital download when it comes out. Do they count that towards the digital sales or towards the box office revenue? Does anybody know?
No,
I would guess both, wouldn't they?
I'm curious because I just thought of that is does that extra $20 count towards the overall sales? Because if so, I say inflation and false advertising.
So I have one more record for you that it broke, Michelle. It broke Justice League's entire box office in 4 days.
Oh, I'm so shocked, Chris. Wow. Oh.
That's me stirring the pot right here just because.
Justice League domestic or worldwide?
Domestic.
Worldwide.
Domestic, yeah.
Domestic Justice League brought in 230 mil almost.
Yeah.
I had to stir the pot a little bit there.
Do you know what else?
Had to be done.
It also probably broke the record of thumbs up for Justice League on this podcast, and I haven't even seen it, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. So there you go.
Just be careful what you support, sir.
You know what? That was a thumbs up for Justice League. That's what that was.
CGI'd out mustaches. So, Steven, your goal is to CGI out my mustache this episode and see if you can beat what they did in Justice League. Do you want me to go get some green screen and put it on my lip?
Let's see what kind of video talent you have. I want my mustache gone for this episode.
Jeez, you guys are the worst. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about this. So we know that originally the first Avengers movie brought huge amount of money to the box office. So it's nice to see this continue to be the powerhouse that it is. I like it. I think that it's great, and I hope that it continues to soar and just destroy other records as things continue on.
I hope you get to see it one day, Steven, so you too can know the greatness that is Tobey Maguire showing up, waving at the audience and saying, "Hey, did you guys like me in Pleasantville?" and then just walking away.
I'm actually, in theory, I should be seeing it at the latest next weekend. It's just this weekend I had too much family stuff going on, so unfortunately it's not going to happen, or it didn't happen. But yeah.
Well,
no.
I hope you have turned off Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and all avenues to access the internet wherever you may be.
I'm actually not even really here. This is all a figment of your imagination.
So let me ask you this, Steven. Are you going to go to the movie first, or are you going to go to your comic book store and get your free comic books on Free Comic Book Day?
I don't know what a comic book is.
He does not. He pushed them all out of his mind when he stopped doing a comic book podcast.
What's a podcast?
It's a cast of pods.
What is a cast?
Well, a cast is what Avengers Infinity War has because it's huge.
Well done.
I think we have to give credit to Kevin Feige. I mean, this is 10 years in the making. I mean, when Iron Man came out, they were rolling the dice, and now here we are, 10 years later, 4,000 movies later, and it's still going strong. People are still talking about it and going to it. It's just amazing what they've been able to do.
I agree. Totally. 100%. I do want to say that there has been, some less good movies than others, but overall, too, a really good slate. I know we've all trashed on many of them, but overall, the slate's good.
I don't think there's been a dud among them. They've all made a lot of money, some more than others, and they've all been entertaining. You might not like aspects of some, like JS's famous ice cream scene, but I mean, it's the Avengers, it's Marvel. They've done, this is the best movie franchise of all time.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. All right, so moving on to the next news point here. This is a very interesting one that I actually came across just today. I'm not sure if you have heard of these things. They're called electronics.
Tell me more, Steven. I would like to know more.
They're things that help things happen electrically. That's the best way to describe electronics.
It seems to run on electricity.
And sometimes said electronics get old and must be retired. Well, there is a Southern California man who has built a pretty decent business out of recycling electronic waste. And guess what? He's headed to federal prison for 15 months after a federal court of appeals in Miami rejected his claim that he was not infringing on rights after essentially making bit money off of restore discs. So what this was this guy that created this recycling company. He found some old, and he's made some really interesting things through his company with old electronics. Now, one of the things that he did was he took old computers and essentially restored Windows onto it using restore discs. Now, what he said could happen was that you could get these restore discs, the images and whatnot online for free. And so he felt that it was legal to go ahead and essentially restore versions of Windows onto old computers and then, of course, remarket that. Well, it didn't properly pass the legalities required to use, I guess, the keys or whatever he was using. I'm guessing my assumption would be the actual tags. Just because you have a tag doesn't mean that you're entitled to the copy of Windows. So Microsoft sued, and originally it was a very, 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 very expensive lawsuit against him into the millions of dollars. But after a little while, what ended up happening was they weighed the entire cost associated with Microsoft Windows and what Microsoft was actually out looking at what Microsoft charged sort of wholesale for these discs. And they found that he's infringed on Microsoft Corporation to the tune of $700,000 was where the lawsuit landed. And of course, that means that he does end up heading to jail because of copyright violations, I suppose, and making a business off of stolen property. It's really an interesting situation because in the settlement of this lawsuit, there was some interesting comments made by the judge that was involved with this and actually said that it was essentially a little sad of a decision because of the fact that the business that the guys had restoring electronics. But at the end of the day, if you break the law, you break the law. So it's really interesting. If you haven't checked this out, you should. The guy's name is his last name is Lundgren. You can check that out, or head on over to Dolph. Is it Dolph Lundgren? I don't believe so, but head on over to www.geeks.link/Microsoft jail. We'll take you to the article, geeks.link/Microsoft jail. And it's a little sad, but you know what? You gotta do what you gotta do. And his name is Eric Lundgren. Eric Lundgren. Don't violate the law, Eric.
Well, his mistake was charging 25 cents a disc, basically. I mean, that's probably more why Microsoft is like, oh, we got to shut this down. I mean, yes, I can burn my own disc to do restores, but trying to build a business on selling these discs pre-made, yeah, not the greatest idea. And on the second hand, the other thing to consider is Microsoft probably updates those images and those restore discs on a fairly regular basis. And when you use this guy's disc that's a year and a half old, when Microsoft has a newer version and your computer doesn't load, you're not going to him to complain. You're going to Microsoft to complain. And then they go, wait, what? No, everything works fine.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Stargate Pioneer. I know that you yourself are somebody who likes to recycle electronics.
Okay.
No, that's just a bad segue. But no, seriously, you yourself, though, you have been known once or twice to go to jail. How do you think he's going to find jail?
Now, I've never gone to jail. I have been arrested, though.
Okay. I think we need to hear about that story now.
Yeah, okay. So when I was 16, I was arrested for shooting a cop.
Whoa. Okay. Wow. Didn't hear that story before.
I think you have, actually, in my initial geek questions that you had me on the show. So yeah, when I was 16 years old, I went out playing laser tag with a bunch of people. It was November, so it was dark. It was in the park. And somebody thought we were a bunch of terrorists running around because they didn't tell the difference between the light of a laser tag gun and a muzzle flash. So the SWAT team came out and got us, and they apprehended us, basically. They used us as a training exercise.
Okay, I have heard that story before. It all
yes,
flashes
I remember
back now.
that now.
And you had forgotten, so you were surprised. So there you go. There's the whole story. I shot a cop when I was 16.
It's a good lead-in. It's a really good lead-in. Anyways, hopefully your time in jail, Eric, goes fairly well. And honestly, though, I hope that this doesn't deflate him from the electronics recycling business, because get within the lines, but I think electronics recycling is an important part. It's a problem that we have, and we need to be able to take care of all of these outdated electronics. There's been some, if you go read this article that I said, but done things with cell phones, getting them working, a whole bunch of different types of electronics. And I definitely think that it's something that we do need in this world is electronics recycling. Now, one thing that we don't need in this world is 2020, the TV show. So, SP, tell me why 2020 is broken.
I'm not talking about a TV show.
Oh, really?
Yes. No,
I'm
not
shocked.
talking about. I even forgotten about that TV show.
You're not talking about Barbara Walters?
Baba Wawa. No,
Yeah, you gotta say it right.
you gotta say it right. No, we're not talking about Baba Wawa. We're talking about the heat shield for NASA's Mars 2020 rover and what happened to it lately. And I found this article on space.com. It's by Ellen Salazar, who is a space.com contributor. The article was published on April 28th, 2018. And Doris Ellen Salazar. So Doris said, the heat shield for NASA's upcoming Mars rover suffered a fracture during testing recently, but the incident won't change the mission's launch date. So first of all, were you guys aware that we had a mission to Mars planned for 2020?
Is that the one with Matt Damon? If so, yes.
That already happened.
It's about the Martian.
No. So are you guys aware that this NASA Mars 2020 mission actually includes a rover?
Like Grover from Sesame Street?
No, not Grover. Rover.
Oh, okay.
I didn't. I thought this is the one where, they finally send us up there, because isn't Mars supposed to be our new home?
According to Elon Musk, it is. And it's not supposed to be a new home. It's more like a lifeboat because, of course, there's no atmosphere and there's less gravity and no water, or at least not as much water and that sort of thing. Anyway, so we're going to go to Mars in 2020. It's the next time that Mars and the Earth will be aligned for an easy transfer. It's called a Holman orbit transfer between the two. It's where you get the most efficiency and the quickest transit between planets. And with all the cosmic radiation and everything out there, you want to minimize your time up in space. So we tested this heat shield for the NASA's Mars Rover, and it suffered structural damage. And the structural damage was located near the shield's outer edge. And it happened during a week-long test at the Lockheed Martin's Denver test facility. And the test was intended to subject the heat shield to forces about 20% greater than those that it will experience when it hits the Martian atmosphere for re-entry, or entry in this case, descent and landing operations. The Mars 2020 team found the fracture on April 12th. And the mission management at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, will work with Lockheed Martin to lead an examination of the cause of the crack and to decide if any design changes should be made. The incident won't delay the Mars 2020 launch, which is currently targeted for July 17th, 2020. It's important to investigate this crack because the heat shield is part of the spacecraft thermal protection system designed by engineers to keep the Martian rover safe as the vehicle experiences intense heat during atmospheric entry. NASA officials said the current heat shield will be repaired to permit continued pre-launch spacecraft testing, but the team will develop a new heat shield structure over the next year. And once that's completed, the new heat shield will receive other important components like thermal protection tiles. So, yeah, a little setback, just a little one, but I think it's not going to really affect anything as we go forward.
All right. So then does that mean that Matt Damon is going to Mars or not going to Mars? I'm lost.
He's already been there.
I don't know that the story checks out.
Watch The Martian. You'll see it.
He's been there multiple times since I've watched the movie multiple times, I guess.
Yeah, it keeps on going and come back.
Yeah.
Is the rover going to go harvest the poop potatoes and bring those back for us?
Potatoes.
Okay, so while we're on the topic of poo potatoes, no, I'm just joking. There's no segue from that.
Potatoes.
You know what? I'm glad to hear that it's not going to affect it that much because when I first saw this, I was a little bit worried. It was something that I think that these missions that are planned to Mars they're really important. We're at a critical part that I think that we really need to make sure these happen. So I'm glad that this isn't much of a setback, even though it does mean that Barbara Walters won't be going anytime soon.
Baba Wawa.
I'm expectant that Elon Musk at some point in time will announce that he will launch something during that same Holman transfer time in July timeframe of 2020 or so on and so forth. So we'll see what SpaceX does, but this is what NASA's plans are. It's to send another rover over there. This one's going to be a little bit bigger, a little bit more robust than even Curiosity. So we get even more science from the Red Planet either way.
Is there protocol for, like, if NASA and Elon Musk want to launch something at the same time? Like, is there a protocol?
That's a good question.
Well, they can have the rockets on the different pads because Elon Musk has his own pad, right? So if they are on separate pads, they can erect both, I was going to say missiles, but they can erect both launch vehicles and they can launch them however in between each other that they want. And it's supposed to be safe, especially the way they're oriented, that any explosion or failure wouldn't affect the other one.
Isn't that bad for ratings, though? Isn't that really bad for ratings?
I think it would actually be good for ratings because we love our events, apparently. So I don't know. It would be bad for either mission, but yeah.
I don't know. I think it's bad for ratings because we've seen it before how there can't be too many. As soon as you put more than four superhero shows on the CW, then all of a sudden they go downhill, right? So there's just no way. Just no way.
I don't think NASA is ever going to publicize their launches the way SpaceX does. I don't think even with this, I don't think there's going to be that sort of excitement around their launch compared to a space launch or SpaceX launch. It's just not going to happen.
It's just because they don't have those hip happening hosts that we see on the SpaceX launches.
Yeah, people aren't really excited about NASA. Yes, they want to support it. They want to see it succeed, but people really get excited about SpaceX because he's doing stuff that nobody's ever done before, like launching a car into orbit, like a regular street car into orbit, or recovering the first stage or two of the rockets as they go up. So yeah, it's all more than a spectacle. I think it's evolutionary events in creating new technologies and capabilities to explore space, which NASA really hasn't done since the space shuttle. And even that's like, it's almost a dud now, you know?
Well, okay, I had a question for you while we're talking briefly about this, and then we'll move on to our extra. You, a long time ago, were mentioning that you thought there was some real prospect for NASA to get more funding. What's the situation with that right now?
NASA just got their new director, finally. It's called an administrator. It was confirmed by Congress. So I don't know if they have any strategic plans to move forward at this point in time. And Congress really didn't give them any extra funds. As a matter of fact, they lost a couple of programs in the last couple of weeks that they decided not to pursue anymore to keep their budget in line, really. And you can honestly blame long-term science missions that keep going, like the Hubble, that weren't expected to last this long, and they'd still have to sink resources into making that happen. Sure, they're not buying the hardware, but they still have to maintain the mission crew on the ground and maintain the control of the science that happens there too. So it is resources that goes into this sort of stuff. Is the Hubble really bad? No, but once the James Webb Space Telescope gets up there, I'm not sure what a benefit the Hubble is going to be in terms of resources that the James Webb couldn't give us.
Okay. Well, I was hoping that you had other news on that, but that's, whatever. Privatization, I've said it before. I think it's okay for our space sector. Speaking of private companies and all that good stuff, let's talk briefly about Microsoft here for what they've got going on. Microsoft is currently previewing the Office 2019. That's right. There are Windows 10 preview versions now available for certain people. That is for Office 29. The last version of Office, I believe, was 2016. So it's been a while since we've had a new version of Office. But the interesting part about this is that there's a lot of new Office 365 style features that are being incorporated to this perpetual Office release, I think is the way that they call it. But yeah, so Office 2019 is not far away. I believe 2019 is supposed to hit towards the summer or a little bit later in the year. So it's not long till Office 2019's out, but it's good to see that's in preview, because I know there's a lot of people here who use Google Docs and use other stuff, but from a corporate perspective, so many people use Office. So I don't know. I still like it myself. And would I pay full price for it? No, but it's nice when you get a very good discount on it.
Yeah, I agree with that fact. I've come to like it. Now, an interesting thing is with Office 2019, no longer will the OneNote desktop app be created and used on that. They're pushing everyone to the Universal Windows Platform app.
Yes.
So if you've enjoyed OneNote 2016, no 2019 for you.
No.
I love OneNote.
I know, that is interesting. But who knows? I guess that's probably because they want you to go to Office 365 because it'll be in there, right? Or is it being fully discontinued?
No. The OneNote 2019 will not exist. 2016 is the last full-blown application of it. Everything else is the free app you can get, the Universal Windows Platform one from the store.
I thought OneNote was in Office 365.
I think it is, but you're not going to have, and like right now you can download Word 2016 or you can use the internet version of it. You'll still have the internet version of OneNote, but no longer will you have an actual application that you can run with the rest of your Office suite. Instead, you just have an app that you can get from the store.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. And you've been pushing me to OneNote for a while. So now am I just going to go ahead and have to stop using it, even though I don't use it?
Well, I mean, the Universal app isn't bad either.
I use OneNote for my job. It has all of my like shortcuts and documents, and everyone at work just loves OneNote, and we will not be happy if it goes away.
I've got OneNote, but it's in my falsetto. That's right.
But bump.
All right, and in the Amazon news here in the extra, let's start off with the one that SP mentioned. Yep, in the United States of America, they increased their annual fee from $99 to $119. Allegedly, Canada has not gone up, but this comes on the heels of them increasing their monthly service. I think it was $10.99 that they introduced in the States on a monthly basis that you could possibly sign up for before if you didn't want to do the full year. And now or a little bit ago, they increased that to $12.99. And now for the annual fee, yes, they've changed it from $99 up to $119. So I think that that's enough of a jump that it's going to make some people really think about it. In my opinion, there's a lot of really good things that come with Amazon Prime now, but if you're not utilizing them all and you don't buy a lot from Amazon, you might find that it's cheaper now to just go and not pay for that and pay for the shipping individually, because $120 is a lot. But somebody like us who likes the 2-day or overnight shipping, it still might be worthwhile. I've always said that I find my Amazon Prime membership to be more valuable than my Costco membership, but we're still paying, I think, like $79 a year down here in Canada, up here in Canada. I didn't say down here. I know where Canada is. I know where it is.
So I was talking to a lot of people at the office about Amazon even before this news came out, and then apparently not everybody does have Prime. There's a lot of people that just wait for their shopping cart to get over that $35 free shipping mark, and then they buy it right then, and they don't use the extra services, the streaming services or anything else. So they're like, yeah, sure, this is fine. I still like shopping at Amazon, and I don't mind getting my packages a week later, so I'm not going to pay the $100 or now $120 for it. So I see their point.
Yeah, and if you are willing to wait, it doesn't take long to get to $25, right? So
it's $35.
35,
now,
okay, whatever, $35. Yeah, so
which is like, I don't know, 2,000 Canadian, right?
Pretty much, yeah. The other part of the Amazon news comes out of my fair province of British Columbia. That's right. In Canada, there's a couple of Amazon facilities. I believe one's in Toronto, one's in Vancouver. And Amazon just announced today that they are expanding the Vancouver, British Columbia, which is where Neil lives. So clearly this is all Neil's doing. They're expanding the Vancouver office into a new space, and it's a larger space, and it's going to create 3,000 jobs in Vancouver. So it's quite the increase. Obviously, it's not the new amazing whatever it is supposed to be, like 80,000 site 2 that Amazon is still looking to option, but 3,000 jobs is 3,000 jobs. So interesting to see Amazon continue to do well, that they can expand.
Will they be allowed to go pee?
I don't know, and I'm not going to answer that for legal reasons.
Are you going to start getting drone deliveries then?
I knew at one point they were thinking about testing that in Vancouver, but I don't know if that ever ended up happening. There's a lot of Canadian cities that now do have the same day shipping option, but it's not as plentiful as it is down there in the States. But who knows? Maybe this is part of that strategy. I'm not sure. I don't know. 3,000 jobs is a lot of new jobs. All right. And also, before we do move on to our next segment, for those of you who are not watching the video side of things, earlier in the show, if we had a flashback sound, we would hear the, but we don't have the flashback sound. There was some people on this comment that said that they wanted me to CGI them, so I made it happen. There you go. SP and Chris now are beardless. We made it happen here just for them, and yeah, there you go. So check that out at www.gonnageek.com. Michelle, how awesome is it?
I think DC should hire you.
It's almost as good. All right, it's better.
Know.
It's better.
I must ask you a question.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to Geek Wars. Here we go. kind of want to leave it up there the whole time, but let's not do that.
I wanted my mustache gone, not the beard.
Oh, sorry, you didn't specify. You didn't
Yeah,
specify.
we did. We said
Yeah, we
remove
did.
the stash.
Remove the stash, we
Whatever.
said.
Yeah.
I got carried. It would have been easier. I got carried away. But let's talk a little bit about Geek Wars. If you're not familiar with Geek Wars, this is the part of the show where we like to run a contest. This is a contest between the hosts here to find out who is the bigger geek. I have a series of questions lined up that are geeky, and we are going to ask them. Now, the best part about this is that there are chances to steal somebody's answers. If someone gets it wrong, you can go ahead and steal the question, and if you get it right, you get the point. There is a whopping 10 questions, and today's theme is looking at the past. It's mostly around the 90s, but we might go back a little bit further from there and maybe a little bit closer than there, but it's mostly 90s. I felt like I was in a 90s mood. So the way that this works is the first person to buzz in saying their name or whatever asinine name they make up gets to answer, and then from there I explain the rest of the rules. Any questions, contestants?
What does the winner get?
The winner gets my applause.
No GonnaGeek.com show point or anything like that?
Nope, don't even know where my bell is anymore, so you don't even get a bell ring.
The bell is gone.
No, it's
What's your bell buddy going to say about that?
I don't know. He'll probably be very disappointed in me.
I thought you gave up your bell buddy.
I think I took him back at one point. By the way, my bell buddy is Willie over on All Things Good and Nerdy because he has a very similar bell, except his bell doesn't work.
I thought because of the tiff going on between Willie and Naki that you were siding with Naki.
It's true.
Willie was no longer your bell buddy.
That's true. I am hashtag Team Naki. So, yes. All right, so let's go ahead and go on to question number 1 in Geek Wars. Name this 1996 sci-fi comedy that starred the likes of Danny DeVito, Martin Short, and Glenn Close. Oh, come on. That was the gimme. Really? Name this 1996 sci-fi comedy that starred the likes of Danny DeVito, Martin Short, Glenn Close, and Pierce Brosnan, I think. This is the last one I made up. I don't know if that's true. Oh, jeez. This is going to be a tough night. Go ahead, Chris.
What's Cool World? I don't know.
No. Okay, it had Jack Nicholson in it. It had Sarah Jessica Parker. Had Michael J. Fox.
Michelle? Mars Attack?
It is Mars Attacks.
Oh, God.
It is. Yay.
I've never actually seen that.
Michelle is on the board with 1. Chris is at -1. And
wait, we're doing negatives?
No.
That's what he
I
said.
never would have guessed that.
I never. I never said that.
Yeah, once the points are flown out there.
No, Chris is at 0. SP is at -1 for arguing with me.
Okay.
All right. Next up, question number 2 we have here is name this 1995 movie which the plot features a computer programmer who stumbles on a conspiracy which puts her life and the life... Chris, go ahead.
The Net.
It is The Net. And
Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock. You know, okay, so The Net was an amazing movie. It was so awesome, so realistic.
It was so real.
So real. No,
it was because I like the fact that she ordered pizza online, and that didn't come into my life for like 20 years after that.
That was so cool. So cool.
Yeah, but where's the Bitcoin?
Yeah. We had the VHS, and my brother and I watched that thing like hell. It was a lot. Watched a lot. All right. So that leaves Michelle at 1, Chris at 1, and SP at 0.
A little bit of ASMR there, huh?
Next up, question number 3. Name the television series that aired originally between 1994 and 2001 that was created by a Canadian CGI animation studio named Mainframe Entertainment. It's often considered to be the first entirely CGI television series. Chris, go ahead.
Oh, this is going to be wrong. Farscape.
No. Notable characters. Oh, actually, anybody else want to guess?
Michelle?
Michelle.
Extra hints.
Max Headroom?
No. All right. It was Reboot.
Oh, yeah. That should have
Didn't even
been.
give me a chance, didn't throw me a clue, just went out there. I
Just
see
went
how
out there.
it is.
Yeah, you could have chimed in. I waited. Sorry.
Still had no idea what Reboot is.
That was the one that featured Megabyte and Hexadecimal. It was and Enzo. I remember
No
when
clue.
it went to like the Net series, it lost me. I was like, when the Net came in, I just was too dark for me. It was just
They're rebooting it now, too.
I heard
no
that,
pun
yeah.
intended.
Yeah, I know. I heard that. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on the video game train from our first news point of the night. This 1994 video game was a flagship game for one leading 90s console. It was the fourth sequel in the series surrounding the main character. The game was noticeable for its, quote, lock-on technology that allowed players to open the hatch on the cartridge and put a second cartridge to play through that game.
Chris,
Go ahead.
Sonic and Knuckles.
Wow, well done. Well done. Did you have that?
I did not have a Genesis, but the kid who lived 2 doors down from me had a Genesis, and we'd play Sonic and Knuckles and then put Sonic the Hedgehog 2 into that to be able to play Knuckles and Sonic 2.
Was that
so
not cool?
I grew up playing it.
That was so cool. So
it
cool.
was. It was
Yeah.
early DLC, man.
It
Early
was.
days of DLC.
I remember being so fascinated for two reasons. Number one, the obvious. You put a cartridge on the cartridge. But the second part was how small that Sonic and Knuckles was. And it had a full game on it, didn't it?
Yeah, there was a game of Sonic and Knuckles, plus the ability to put Knuckles in any of the Sonic games by using that.
Except I think you had to have a version of the previous one that was released later or something, didn't you?
I don't remember that as well.
I think it was something like that.
We're talking like 94, 95. This is 10 and 11-year-old Chris. I don't remember most of those things.
Fair point. All right, so Michelle is at 1, Chris is at 2, SP is at 0. SP, you can get on the board with this one here because I know you know this song so well. We all
His heart
know
will go on.
that's we all know that Enterprise, later known as Star Trek Enterprise, made history by being the first Star Trek series to use a lyrical theme song. The song, are you sure? Okay, go ahead.
It's been a long road.
No, the song was Faith of the Heart. However, before the show debuted, there were extreme rumors that it would be a different song due to UPN's heavy use of a different song during promotions for the series. Name that song. And I'll give SP a crack at this here too, because he started halfway through and it's a hard question.
Yeah, I remember hearing about this, but I don't remember the name of the song. Heck, I even got the name of the actual one wrong.
Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
What is Getting Jiggy With It by Will Smith?
You're correct. UPN used that at every promo. Yes.
Well done.
No.
Nice pull.
No. Michelle, do you have a stab?
Wayward Son.
No. It was Wherever You Will Go by The Calling.
Yeah, I had no clue.
Yeah.
No.
You know what? I remember those promos, and like pretty much every time I hear that song, I think about Enterprise. It's not a lie at all. Their branding worked. How many years later? Name question number 6, which by the way, the points are Michelle at 1, Chris at 2, and SP at 0. Name the actress who voices Barbara Gordon / Batgirl in Batman the Animated Series between
Chris.
92 and 95. Chris.
Tara Strong.
Nope.
Oh.
SP.
SP.
Tara Reid.
No.
No.
Michelle,
That's right.
guess?
She was recast into it.
No, don't
I
want to
have
guess.
no clue.
Melissa Gilbert. Melissa Gilbert.
really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Laura Ingalls Wilder herself.
Mm-hmm.
John Sheridan's first wife.
Yeah.
I could see her as Barbara Gordon, actually.
I love that show. I watched that show so much. And
Little House on the Prairie.
yeah, that one too. But no, I've actually never seen Little House on the Prairie, believe it or not. I know. Blasphemy.
If you live in Minnesota, you've seen it over and over and over and over and over and over again.
All right, score remains the same. Let's head on to question number 7. Name this 1998 movie featuring Tom Hanks Meg Ryan, named after the popular catchphrase from one
Chris.
infamous
Michelle.
internet company. Michelle, Chris barely beat you.
You got mail.
Chris beat you. Chris.
Oh, no, he did not.
Yeah, the way that
totally
the way it came in
He
with the
did.
Skype lag, it was the
Oh.
Skype lag. So
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and discard that question. So just for fairness reasons, I'm not going to
Sorry.
do that. No, it was the Skype lag. It wasn't your fault. You hear that, Skype? That's why we need Skype for creators. All right, question number 8. Name this line of phones that set the trend of dropping E's, because of course they're not cool, that was seen everywhere starting in 2004. The series oddly began with the model number V3.
SP.
SP, go ahead.
Razor phones.
Yeah, SP, you are on the board. The Motorola
Wow.
Razr without an E, because again, E's are bad, right?
That phone was awesome, though. I remember that.
It was weird
Got a
though that it
couple
started
right
with the
out there.
V3 though. Like that was so weird.
It's Motorola, man. They did weird stuff.
They were garbage. They were garbage phones and they broke. Everybody wanted them because they looked cool, but they were terrible phones.
I don't know if you could say any phone back then, mobile phone was garbage back then, because that was just 10 years removed from like a car phone the size of the car battery.
Yeah, but for those of us who didn't grow up, walking our vehicles around because they weren't powered and we were Flintstone styles.
How do you think I got the calluses on the bottom of my feet?
No, I remember though the Razr. It was like people were interested in it, and I was constantly trying to talk them out of it because they were breaking everywhere. I remember them not holding up very well at
Well,
all.
it was cool because you flipped it open like a Star Trek communicator, and they were lighted and they were color. I mean, these are all things that didn't exist in phones before then.
I
It
suppose.
became fashionable. They became more trendy. I mean, this was the whole time frame of like the T-Mobile Sidekick and stuff like that. So we were in this trend of making phones be fashion pieces as well as cool technology.
I guess.
Plus, it integrated with iTunes, which was kind of cool at the time.
Wasn't that the V3i that did?
It was that and the Sliver when they put that out, the spiritual successor to the Razr that was terrible.
Gotcha. All right, so question number 9, and remember, there's only 2 left, so this could go anyway. We've got Michelle with 1, Chris with 2, and SP with 1. Number 9, name this crossover storyline that ran for almost all of 1999 throughout the Batman comic book titles. Michelle,
Chris.
what is it?
No Man's Land.
Yes, Michelle. That is absolutely No Man's Land. Michelle with 2, Chris with 2, and SP with 1. I recently had somebody actually tell me that I should check this out. And do you guys remember how this started? How this whole storyline kicked off? Because that was part of the question.
Giant earthquake destroyed
Yes.
Gotham City.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So I gotta check it out. I just looked into the premise of it. So
Why did we rebuild it?
That's a good question.
Because Lex Luthor it had something to do with Lex Luthor, I think. I don't remember. It's been a while since I read it last.
All right. So Michelle's at 2, Chris is at 2, and SP is at 1, which brings us to question number 10. We might get a 3-way tie. SP, be ready. Be ready to shout it on out. Shout it on out. These are the things that you could do without. Name these extraterrestrial siblings that were a superhero duo first appearing in Hanna-Barbera's all-new Super Friends Hour.
SP.
SP, what is it?
The Wonder Twins.
Yes! Ding, 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 ding,
I thot
ding,
you wanted
ding,
the
ding,
name
ding,
of them. That's
ding,
what I was
ding,
having
ding,
trouble with.
ding, ding, ding.
Three-way
Ding.
tie.
3-way tie. I'm going to call that a win on the GonnaGeek.com network show, official
It's like JS
GonnaGeek.com
is
show.
back here again.
You know what? A 3-way tie means that we all get along, unlike Stargate Pioneer and Digital Soup.
Only when they do a bonehead move.
Whoa, shots fired again.
But seriously, well done, everybody. 3-way tie. I'm impressed. I will call that. Well done, Steven. You just thought of the perfect questions. Way to go,
You
Steven.
know what? I'm going to call Michelle the winner because, due to lag, she would have gotten that extra question. She
So
would
would I.
have been. She would have won.
All right. Well, on that three-way tie note, let's go ahead and go around the table and plug and promote, and we'll do whatever we'd like to do. Let's start off with our guest of honor, Michelle Ealey. Michelle Ealey, thank you for coming on here. So go ahead and take a moment now to plug and promote and do whatever you would like.
Thank you. I'm at Michelle Ealey on Twitter. I am a co-host of the Starlight Tribune, and I am a consultant on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Chris, do you have anything that you want to plug or promote?
Go check out some of the other awesome shows that are on the Gonna Geek Network. Head on over to GonnaGeek.com. Click on the network button. There's 25 plus different shows in the network. We can't run down all of the shows because that would take a while, but there's definitely going to be something there that suits your tastes. And maybe you should just go check out Digital Soup and tell them that you don't agree with SP.
SP, anything that you'd like to plug or promote?
First of all, Dave, Jason, Adam over at the Digital Soup Podcast, you guys are great. And I know that you're going to respond, but I know you're going to respond in good humor. So thank you very much for the good humored back and forth there, because I know you guys are up to that. But also just want to promote the fact that I was on Sunshine and Power Cuts episode number 16, talking all about living off the grid, potentially on a sailboat cruising around the world, and what is really entailed on that. So that is Sunshine and Power Cuts. It's a Power Cut episode number 16. You can find that at sunshineandpowercuts.com.
And by the way, you mentioned in good humor, just going to say there's HR policies involved with our Gonna Geek HR policies, but our HR department, I should say.
Like HR Wells?
No, we have a human resources department here on the GonnaGeek.com network, and I'm not at liberty to say anything, but I'm just going to say there's been a complaint filed. So we'll just go ahead.
I see. Well, let's just, complaint for incompetence on the Digital Soup side.
Complaint because someone grabbed my tushy.
All right, so for episode number 237 of the official GonnaGeek.com show, I think I'm legally required to shut down the Gonna Geek Network at this point.
I'm SP saying maybe I'll see you next week, maybe not. We'll see.
I'm Chris saying hashtag Digital Soup was right.
I'm Michelle saying Naki's always right.
Hashtag Team Naki, hashtag Team Soup. Bye!
Thanks for checking out another episode of the official GonnaGeek.com show. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or a thumbs up on YouTube. You can always join us for our live recording sessions, which stream Mondays at 8:45 p.m. Eastern at www.geeks.live. And remember, you can find our full back catalog at GonnaGeek.com/show. If you're itching for more geeky content, check out other shows on GonnaGeekNetwork.com. Voice work was by Emily Prokop of the Story Behind podcast. That's it for this episode. We hope to see you back again next week.